Welcome to the Fox 54 Weekend Review. I'm Kenesha Dees. It's the only place in North Alabama to get the week's local headlines condensed into one program. Here's a taste of what's ahead. Our top story this week, Space Command headquarters is officially moving to Huntsville's Redstone Arsenal. President Trump made the announcement earlier this week, and local and state leaders say the Rocket City is ready.
Thrilled to report that the U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City.
Big news for the Rocket City today, and Fox 54 has all the angles. Welcome to Fox 54 News at 9. I'm Kenesha Dees. President Trump announced today the relocation of the U.S. Space Command headquarters from Colorado Springs to Huntsville, Alabama. Trump says the decision to relocate came with strong consideration of Huntsville's military infrastructure and central location. According to Trump, 5 states were contenders, but ultimately Huntsville fought harder than anyone else. And Trump says he hopes it will remain here for hundreds of years.
Well, it just works because we have so much else there. And having a central, you could call it a central command, but it really is a command station. Also, even locationally, where it is, and when you think about flying distances, if you can save a half an hour as fast as some of these planes go and things go, and even the rockets go, if you can save by having the best location. So we went out, as you know, to experts. And we had 4 different groups of experts. They all said this was the best location.
President Trump's announcement that Space Command is on its way to the Rocket City, local leaders say it's an exciting time. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman now joins us in the studio. Gabe, you've been able to speak with city and county officials throughout the day. What are they saying?
Well, Kenesha, you're exactly right. Local leaders know what today's announcement means to Huntsville. Getting here has been a process that has spanned several years, years of arm twisting, ear bending, and lobbying at the highest levels.
Very optimistic that it'll soon officially be announced that Space Command's coming to Huntsville.
I'm 100% sure it's coming to Redstone.
It's clear that Alabama is more cost effective, and we have the brain power and the robust defense industry that is able, that is willing, and is ready to support Space Command.
Fox 54 told you back in May the move was a near certainty, and our sources had it right. Now, after what city leaders say was a process over 7 years long, the hard work is coming to fruition.
The U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama.
For those who have been pushing for the move, a day to celebrate.
This is an exciting day for Huntsville, and this is also an exciting day for our country as a whole.
I can now imagine what it must have been like being a city council member in the 1950s when Senator John Sparkman announced that the Von Braun space team was going to be coming to Huntsville, Alabama to assist with the space program. I think this has a great potential to be a game changer for Huntsville and the entire Tennessee Valley.
Today was a win for national security, and I am so grateful for President Trump's leadership and naming Space Command's home there at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama.
Very proud to be able to listen to the announcement today and finally come to a culmination on something that we have been working on for, as I said, for 7 years.
Mayor Tommy Battle and Madison County Commission Chairman Mac McCutcheon say the move will have a big economic impact on Huntsville and surrounding areas.
We know that it's going to have a good effect on us.
But Battle and McCutcheon add it's more than just a local win. They emphasize the importance for national security.
This is not about politics as much as it's about what's good for our country and what's good for national security.
There's so much synergy here, and there's so much high-tech work that's already done here that it fits very well into the portfolio of what we're already doing, and the synergy just makes us that much stronger. It's about having America with a strong defense. This isn't a Huntsville victory, and this isn't a North Alabama victory. This is a victory for the country.
City officials estimate there will be roughly 1,400 U.S. Spacecom jobs made available at Redstone Arsenal over the next 5 years, but there are other estimates which soar even higher than that. Gabe Glassman reporting live in the Fox 54 studios. Kenesha, back to you.
Thank you, Gabe. Not everyone is excited at the prospect of this move. The Colorado delegation on Space Command released a statement reading, quote, "Today's decision to move U.S. Space Command's headquarters out of Colorado and to Alabama will directly harm our state and the nation. We are united in fighting to reverse this decision. Bottom line, moving Space Command headquarters weakens our national security at the worst possible time," end quote. Former mayor of Colorado Springs, John Suthers, shared a similar sentiment. Take a listen.
It makes some sense from a narrow political standpoint for a president that carried Alabama 3 times and lost Colorado 3 times. But otherwise, from a national defense perspective and from a interest of the taxpayer perspective, it makes no sense whatsoever. We are at full operational capability in Colorado Springs. So moving it will mean some sort of disruption to that full operational capability.
A lot has been said in the back and forth between the two communities, the differences between Huntsville and Colorado Springs. So how do they compare? Huntsville is smaller metro area. The city and its suburbs are about 30% less by population than Colorado Springs and its neighbors. Income is a touch higher in the Rocky Mountains, but so is the cost of the typical home, which runs $100,000 more than the average house in Huntsville. Both communities are above the norm for education, with Huntsville gaining a slight edge in college degrees. Of course, other factors from the weather to location will be considered when families decide whether to relocate to the Rocket City. It's hard to put an exact number on the economic impact of the relocation of Space Command headquarters, but when the announcement was made back in 2023 to maintain Spacecom Operations Colorado, Denver's Metro Chamber of Commerce noted that the decision kept $1 billion annually in the area economy. We also know the move will bring in as many as 1,700 direct jobs, though city leaders are tempering that number, counting on about 1,400 in the first 5 years. The build out of a new headquarters will mean gradual additions of personnel over a period that will last beyond the end of this decade. And we're going to go back to how this will impact the housing market over the last couple of years. To give an example, the median home price increasing more than $50,000, as we've mentioned, since 2022. It's only set to grow with the arrival of Space Command to the Rocket City. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala explains how this will impact the future of Huntsville.
Yesterday, Donald Trump announced the relocation of the U.S. Space Command headquarters to Huntsville, Alabama, meaning it will not just be spaceships skyrocketing, but also the enrollment number in schools and the demand for housing. In the last couple of years, the Madison County School District has invested more than $100 million in capital improvement projects district-wide. This investment has gone towards facility improvements and the creation of a new intermediate school that will be able to hold a projected 750 additional students. The district is preparing for the influx of students and hopes to maintain low classroom sizes.
So where we're standing right now is the site of the Sparkman Intermediate School. That's going to be a 4th, 5th, and 6th grade school that's scheduled to open next year. We currently have a middle school in the Hazel Green community under construction, along with an addition at Hazel Green High School. So we have capital improvement projects all over our district. We just want to reassure the parents of Madison County that the board and the superintendent are committed to being proactive in our approach to be able to expand on our facilities, our capital improvement projects, and we're just proud to be able to serve the people of Madison County.
And where students come, so do families. Huntsville has previously been ranked one of the fastest growing metro areas in the country. And with an estimated 1,400 jobs being created as a result of Space Command, you will also be seeing an increase in housing projects across the city.
Builders are still building a lot of new homes, and then we have pre-existing homes too on the market. Apartments, right now we hear that they're 70% at capacity of being full. And as this begins, and we're expecting that to go up to 90%.
As Huntsville prepares for Space Command, the next steps will be keeping housing and schools growing at the same rate as the city. In Huntsville, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
And Friedman says that growth in the population should match the development we've been seeing here in Huntsville, also making the city an even bigger dot on the map. School districts here in North Alabama are already preparing with more new projects and additions than ever before. That's all to meet an estimated influx of more than 30,000 people. Space Command fever has taken the Tennessee Valley by storm, and local leaders spoke today about how they plan to handle the move. Huntsville Mayor Tommy Battle, Madison County Chairman Mac McCutcheon, and Redstone Arsenal Representative Martin Traylor met at a roundtable discussion today. During the event, Traylor laid out a plan for how the base expects the relocation process to play out and gave a timeline for possible construction to begin.
The immediate element that will probably arrive is what we can call a torch party. It'll be a smaller element. We're prepared to absorb that effective today. We have the space for that and all the communications and everything that's needed for that element today. The next one we see would probably be a small add-on party, advanced party that comes in up to maybe 100 people. And we also have plans to be able to absorb that instantly. And then there's a two-phased approach kind of to the construction of this. So there's a temporary site that will be built in the period of 18 to 24 months. Inside the secure area of the EUL on Redstone Arsenal, which is, if you're familiar with the Gate 9 area, right out road, just to the left as you come into there, that will go up very quickly to house the Space Command in its entirety, while the MILCON, which will take 5 to 7 years sometimes to actually build, will happen. But that command can theoretically be operational here very, very quickly.
Mayor Battle says the city has experience with similar moves and is prepared to handle this growth as well. With all this talk about SpaceCom and a decision now to relocate to Huntsville, many of us are left asking ourselves, what even is SpaceCom, and is it the same thing as Space Force? Today we'll verify, are Space Command and Space Force the same thing?
Space Command.
Space Force and Space Command.
Space Force.
President Donald Trump made the announcement from the Oval Office. Space Command is coming to the Rocket City. Or is it Space Force? There seems to be some confusion after the politician's remarks this afternoon. A muddling of Space Command and Space Force. So which one is coming to Huntsville? Let's verify. Our sources are U.S. Space Command and Congressman Robert Aderholt. According to spacecom.com, the Space Force organizes, trains, and equips space professionals and then presents those forces to U.S. Space Command, which actively employs joint forces from the U.S. Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Space Force to accomplish the command's mission. Congressman Aderholt released a statement this afternoon clarifying that while Space Command is coming to Huntsville, Space Force headquarters will remain at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. So we can verify only Space Command is moving to Huntsville. Space Force is a separate entity, and its headquarters will not be moving. For extended interviews with state and city leaders about the Space Command relocation, go to FOX54.com. And if you have something that you want us to verify, text us at the number on your screen, 256-382-2692. Municipal election drama continues in two cities. In Decatur, a runoff between two city council candidates gets heated, and in Gunnersville, the mayoral runoff is on after legal issues were raised. Drama coming out of Decatur's municipal elections, an online feud smearing one of the two candidates vying for the District 4 council seat in the city's only runoff election. Pam Wurzler and her opponent, Sarah French, are the only two candidates left in Decatur's District 4 race after the municipal elections last Tuesday. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo spoke with both candidates to hear what's next for their campaigns.
The two candidates are currently in a tight deadlock after getting a roughly even number of votes last Tuesday, beating three other candidates at the polls. They're now headed to a runoff election to decide who's going to take over Hunter Pepper's District 4 City Council seat. I spoke with both candidates who told me just what's at stake in this election.
Both candidates for Decatur City Council's District 4 seat have been campaigning for months, but it's ramped up this week as we head into local runoff elections. Some in Decatur are using the excitement as a way to potentially smear the candidates.
They're pretty much false comments. They spin them to be what they want them to be. They'll take a little snippet of what they hear and then they add to it.
Some online comments saying candidate Sarah French doesn't support the city or law enforcement, has a criminal record, and lacks knowledge about the office. Others on Facebook cite French's participation in local protests and her subsequent arrest. But French addressed her opponents, saying she's working for the city without feeding into the drama.
Every person that's attacked me, I've gave them the opportunity to say, I'll meet with you. I will show you any documents you want to see on me, but I'm not feeding into the online garbage. I need to stay positive and focused on what District 4 needs.
French says she's unfazed by the comments and is still working hard on her campaign. Her opponent, Pam Wursler, says she's doing the same, but this week has worn their campaigns thin.
First of all, I ran out of everything, signs and the materials that I was handing out. And now I've got a waiting list for signs. So we're printing up more signs, that kind of thing. And then we're going to go back out and talk to people some more.
Amid all the drama, the two candidates here are saying they're just doing their best to keep the momentum going ahead of the runoffs. In Decatur, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
The runoff election is September 23rd and runs from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The city plans to open up the area's regular polling locations, but only District 4 residents will be able to vote. The mayoral race in Guntersville is officially heading to a runoff election. That's the latest end to a short debate after residents raised questions Friday about the legality of the runoffs. Some saying the mayoral tiebreaker should go to the city council. It's all after the mayoral race ended in a tie, even after the 7 provisional ballots were counted last week. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo shows us what's next.
Some confusion now surrounding the Guntersville mayoral race after questions were raised around the legality of a runoff. A city council meeting Friday made some council members take a second look at their election process.
Someone that was a participant of those meetings brought to the attention of the council that in fact Alabama state law had been changed and a runoff election was not authorized.
The state law in question was changed in 2022 to allow a runoff among more than 2 candidates locked in a tie, but some here are saying the law doesn't mention a race between just 2 candidates. That was enough to muddy the water around this election involving a neck-and-neck tie.
It's a little confusing, unfortunately. It's not as clear as it should be. I think what the council did today was to say, well, in the absence of certainty, we're going to make a good faith decision and we're going to stick with what we did last Friday.
The city council explaining their decision to uphold the runoff election later this month.
The Alabama law that would have a city council vote for a mayor's race decision after those same city councilmen voted in the election would violate the U.S. Constitution because each person gets 1 vote.
According to Russell, it was all to keep the process in the hands of the voters rather than city council, something several here are saying is critical for fair elections. That includes candidate Jeff McLaughlin, who says voter turnout will be the deciding factor for Guntersville's next mayor.
Your vote really matters, and it comes down to 1 vote sometimes, so hopefully the people of Guntersville will come out. Hopefully people will take this seriously enough to realize, you know, their city government, they need to vote and make a choice as to, you know, who's going to be the mayor of their city government.
In Guntersville, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
And the runoff election is set for later this month, September 23rd, on a Tuesday. The results from that vote will decide Guntersville, next mayor. Local candidates are using this opportunity to tell voters every vote counts. Back in April, a man named John Daniel Scott Jr. died in custody after a medical episode following an arrest by Decatur police. Now his family has filed a civil rights lawsuit. And tonight, the family and friends of John Daniel Scott Jr. are seeking justice after months of looking for answers from local authorities in Decatur. That battle now going all the way to North Alabama's U.S. District Court. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo investigates.
A new lawsuit coming months after one man's death while in police custody. They're seeking $100 million for his alleged wrongful death. It all started back in April after John Scott Jr.'s mother called police for assistance in helping her son through a mental health crisis. Scott, otherwise known as LJ, was responding to paramedics but refusing a trip to the hospital when the police arrived. After a brief altercation, he was tased multiple times and handcuffed on the ground before being booked into the Morgan County Jail. That same night, Scott had an undisclosed medical event and was taken to Huntsville Hospital, where he died just days later. His mother, Paulette Tennyson, filed the lawsuit on August 29th, hiring attorneys from around the country to represent their family against the city of Decatur.
A lot of what we learned about what happened to LJ Scott came from within the jail itself. We have correspondence from administrators, from executives within the jail itself who responded to what happened to LJ appropriately, we believe, with identifying the violations of the law, identifying the bad actors, identifying the exposure of the city. And when you have a whistleblower case like this, it gives us an opportunity to really correct long-term wrongs.
The city of Decatur says all police officers undergo standard mental health training and have the city's mental health liaison on call. But Scott's family and friends say after months of grieving, they're still seeking justice for LJ. In Decatur, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
The plaintiffs are making more than 150 claims in their filing, alleging throughout the officers' actions and negligence caused federal civil rights violations. They're demanding a trial by jury. Let's turn now to a word that's been on a lot of lips this week, Powerball. If you buy a ticket in Tennessee and win, do you have to pay taxes, and can you remain anonymous? We verify. Big money this weekend. We're talking a $1.7 billion cash prize up for grabs Saturday, as after no one claimed the winning ticket from yesterday's Powerball drawing. We know there's no lotto here in Alabama, but what if you actually buy the winning ticket from Tennessee? We'll verify what you should know. No lottery in Alabama? No problem. You can purchase your ticket in Tennessee, but let's say you win some or win it all. Can you remain anonymous if you win as an Alabama resident? And will you have to pay Tennessee taxes? Let's verify. Here are our sources: the Tennessee Education Lottery Corporation and the Legal Institute information from Cornell School of Law. Here's what we found about whether or not you can remain anonymous. Today, I reached out to the Tennessee Education Lottery Corporation's headquarters in Nashville. There are 4 locations where you can claim your prize: Memphis, Nashville, Chattanooga, and Knoxville. If you win $200,000 or more, you'd have to claim it in Nashville, the lottery's headquarters. And let's say you win the whole shebang. According to one of the headquarters managers in the Tennessee Education Lottery Implementation Law, you can refuse to take a photo, but your name, home state, and hometown can be released if an eligible request is received for such information. Now, what makes that request eligible, I'm told, is when you'd have to talk with the organization's communications or email them. So we can verify, no, you can't remain anonymous, even if you're an Alabama resident. Next, can you be taxed in Tennessee? We found out from the Tennessee Education Lottery Corporation's website that the state of Tennessee does not tax lottery winnings, but you're subject to federal income tax. We also found from the Legal Institute information from Cornell School of Law, according to this Alabama code, individuals subject to Alabama income tax, Alabama residents are taxable on their entire income, whether earned within or without Alabama. So no, you won't be taxed in Tennessee, but you'll be taxed in Alabama and again, subject to federal income tax. Yes, and if you have something you'd want us to verify, text us from the number on your screen, 256-382-2692. A former star athlete turned motivational speaker shared his story with some local students this week. Hear how a bad decision changed his life and what turned it around.
Once a star quarterback, West seemed to possess all of the opportunities in the world.
Please welcome the coffee bean himself, Mr. David West.
Until bad decisions led him to a life of organized crime and drug use. He was eventually sentenced to 65 years in prison. After being released on parole, West turned his life around and now travels the country teaching kids about the coffee bean metaphor.
Basically, it says that in the pot of boiled water called life, you get 3 choices. Be like a carrot that turns soft and mushy and weak, or an egg that becomes hard and mad and mean and angry, or be like a coffee bean that changes the water to coffee. I believe that if we can learn from someone else's mistakes, that's the best way to understand how not to make a mistake.
West says that his story is about more than just choices. It's about transformation. Educators here say that perspective is exactly what students at this age need to hear.
I think it was a great inspirational message for anyone, for 6th graders, for any students in middle school, just to know that your choices don't necessarily define you, but you should start making, kind of building your identity now and making good choices moving forward. But also knowing that if you make a bad choice, you can make a change and turn your life around and affect others in a positive way.
Now, West has amassed over 375,000 followers on social media and is one of the most sought-after keynote speakers in America. He hopes to keep spreading his coffee bean ideology and continue encouraging students to learn from their mistakes. In Madison, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
And let's wrap up this week by meeting our first top teacher of the 2025-26 school year, Keisha Acklin of Morris Elementary School in Huntsville. See what keeps her coming back to the classroom every year.
Now, Fox 54's Top Teacher, sponsored by Calhoun Community College.
I'm excited to welcome back Fox 54's Top Teacher. Our first teacher is in Huntsville. Her name is Keisha Acklin, and she's a resource teacher at Morris Elementary School. She builds and develops special needs students in levels K through 5. Here's the moment she was surprised.
Congratulations! Come here. Come on. You, Miss Acklin, have been presented with the top teacher for Fox 54 for your outstanding.
Surprise, surprise. Miss Keisha Acklin was presented the Fox 54 Top Teacher Award by Principal Leslie Maples. Acklin says she's been teaching at Morris Elementary School for 4 years and 10 years total. She also believes it's rewarding. Here's why.
For me, it's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I love to see where they are when they first start with me, and then at the end of the year to see how they've grown and progressed academically. One of my favorites, fall is my favorite, so we're working on learning about the life cycle of apples, and we just do the whole nine. We do a graph and we do apple tasting, and that's my favorite thing all school year, and they love it.
Congratulations, Ms. Acklin. We'll hear more from her and Principal Maples on Fox 54 Plus. Download on your TV, watch for free. And do you know of a deserving teacher? Nominate them on fox54.com. Congratulations, Ms. Acklin. You can also nominate a top teacher on fox54.com. Thank you for watching Fox 54's Week in Review. Count on Fox 54 Plus to bring you more great programming with in-depth local specials, locked on sports, true crime, cooking shows, wellness experts, and continuing weather coverage. For everyone at Fox 54 News, I'm Kenesha Dees. Have a great weekend.